Good morning. Kelly has cookies and breads and gluten and non-gluten in the kitchen, so fun stuff. Hi, YouTube. Are you YouTube?
Yes.
Hi. So we have our worldwide audience. Small group in here today, large group out there. Where's Josie? Oh, okay. All right. So, more T-shirts. These T-shirts obviously are for little kids. Warning, I'm 2. And warning, I'm 3.
Warning, I'm 60.
Warning, I'm 60. Yeah, oh yeah. And I don't care anymore. So, when is this old enough to know better and supposed to kick in? More T-shirts, okay. I'm so hot, I'm responsible for global warming. Oh, novinophobia, the fear of running out of wine. Actually, it's novinophobia. I apologize. I put the accent on the wrong syllable. Okay. Did a cartwheel the other day, thinking it was like riding a bike. It's not. Every time a woman turns 50, a cougar is born. Yeah, I know, but actually Jan told me this morning, she read my horoscope and told me there's going to probably be something you shouldn't do this morning. That was it. That was it, yeah. I'm not arguing, I'm just explaining why I'm right. Yeah, good thing. Actually, Jan wasn't in here for that one, so I'm good. All right. During the 20s, most of the United States cities caught a wave of violence so severe that strong public sentiment was generated. Many states enacted strict laws aimed at habitual criminals. In several instances, a fourth conviction carried automatic sentence of life in prison. Many reform judges searched for the maximum penalty when given the opportunity to sentence an old offender. Underworld gossip warned thugs to stay out of such courts because these crusaders might throw everything in the statute book at the prisoner. The phrase, to throw the book, soon came to mean severe treatment by any authority. So, now you know where that one came from. You know, we have so many smart people in here, I'm sure there's somebody in here that knows this one. The unpopped kernels in a bowl of popcorn are called? Old Maids. There we go. Old Maids. Oh. See? Told you. I can't get anything past you people. See. I just said you people. I've had people say that to us too. You people. Yeah, you people. Pretty funny. Pretty funny. It is well that there is no one without fault, for he would not have a friend in the world. He would soon seem to belong to a different species. Consistency is the last refuge of the unimaginative. Oscar Wilde, 1854. That's interesting. Consistency is the last refuge of the unimaginative. Yeah, it kind of does. Kind of does. We do have a couple patron saints by the name of John Lennon and George Carlin, no? And John, imagine no possessions, I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Still good today, and that was probably, 50 years ago? 63? 73. Oh, okay. Not that long ago. Well, by our imagination anyway. So. And George, I want to live. I don't want to die. That's the whole meaning of life, not dying. I figured that stuff out in the 3rd grade. Yeah. Okay. This one is, what was this one? There we go. You know you're living in 2015 when every commercial on television has a website at the bottom of the screen. Leaving the house without your mobile phone, which you didn't even have the first 20 or 30 or 60 years of life, is now a cause for panic, and you turn around and go back in and get it. You get up in the morning and go online before you get your coffee. You start tilting your head sideways to smile. Yeah, you got it. You're reading this and nodding and laughing. Yeah. Even worse, you know exactly to whom you are going to forward this message to. You're too busy to notice there was no number 9, which there isn't on here, and you actually scroll back to check to see that there wasn't a 9 on the list. So, yeah, that'll work. Done with that one. Okay. Glass takes 1,000,000 years to decompose, which means it never really wears out and can be recycled an infinite number of times. Gold is the only material that doesn't rust, even if it's buried in the ground for thousands of years. Your tongue is the only muscle in your body that is only attached at one end. Well, if you stop getting thirsty, you need to drink more water. When a human body is dehydrated, its thirst mechanism is the first thing that shuts off. Yeah. I did this, but I still find this one interesting. Ever walk into a room with some purpose in mind, only to completely forget what that purpose was for? All of us have. There's actually a scientific reason for that. Turns out doors themselves are to blame for these strange memory lapses. Psychologists at the University of Notre Dame have discovered that passing through a doorway triggers what's known as an event boundary in the mind, separating one set of thoughts and memories from the next. Your brain files away the thoughts you had in the previous room and prepares a blank slate for the new locale. Go figure. It's not aging, it's the door. Thank goodness for studies with a little on the side. Oh, you were lucky you weren't in here. Remember you told me this morning there was a joke or something I probably shouldn't tell? I told it. So. And you were right. Yeah. Little Zachary. Until a child I've done this one before, but this one's still pretty doggone funny. It was done 3 years ago. Yep, almost exactly 3 years ago. Until a child tells you what they are thinking, we can't even begin to imagine how their mind is really working. Little Zachary was doing very badly in math. His parents had tried everything. Tutors, mentors, flashcards, special learning centers, in short, everything they could think of to help him with his math. Finally, in a last-ditch effort, they took Zachary down and enrolled him in a local Catholic school. If you've ever been to a Catholic school, I got zipped on the knuckles, oh yeah. Held by the ears, yeah, great fun. After the first day, little Zachary came home with a serious look on his face. He didn't even kiss his mother hello. Instead, he went straight to his room and started studying. Books and papers were spread all over the room, and little Zachary was hard at work. His mother was amazed. She called him down to dinner. To her shock, the minute he was done, he marched back up into his room, and in no time, he was back hitting the books as hard as he was before. This went on for some time, day after day, while the mother tried to understand what made the difference. Finally, little Zachary brought home his report card. He quietly laid it on the table, went up to his room, hit the books again with great trepidation. His mom looked at it, and to her great pleasure, little Zachary got an A in math. She could no longer hold her curiosity. She went up to his room and said, "Son, what was it? What was it?" Little Zachary looked at her and shook his head. "No, Mom." "Well, then," she replied, "was it the books, the discipline, the structure, the uniform, the nuns?" "No." "Well, what was it?" Little Zachary looked at her and said, "Well, on the first day of school, when I saw that guy nailed to the plus sign, I knew that they weren't fooling around." So there you go. Yeah, I know, probably sacrilege, yes, yeah. That too. Hey, Mike, what are we doing? Yeah, okay. Mike had to do it because the computer was not acting. Or are we doing it on there? Okay. Mike's got it. Yeah. Jan and I went down to the Roxy last night because our grandkids were playing. They've got a small band, and darn, they're getting good. I mean, they really, really are. I mean, even people like us could enjoy the music. It's kind of a rock and roll, but I'm not real sure what the genre is, but everybody was having a great time. So we're still trying to plan it, but we're planning on having a concert here like in January, mostly for the young people. But guess what? Like I said, I enjoyed it. I mean, Daryl, you'd probably get a kick out of it. You listen to all that music. Everybody likes rock and roll or anything that's just fun. Hey, they played some Jimi Hendrix. What's not to like? So I told them as soon as they learned how to play Stairway to Heaven, they could play here. So So they've almost got that one down, and the part that they've got is great. So we're going to do that. It'll be a free concert. Just kind of put it out there, and it should be a lot of fun. We're auctioning off a TENS unit. It's purple. So I know a couple people like purple. So it is a full TENS unit, modern, brand new. It's not one of the cheapy ones from the catalogs, because we actually did one of those, and they really don't work very well. This works great. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, great Christmas present. We'll be auctioning this off. I mean, not auctioning, but December 13th. Yeah, we're getting raffle tickets in the back. $10 ticket. Talk to Valerie. Yeah, it's next week. Why, do you want to say something about it, or? Okay. Valerie's going to pass around. We're going to do Thanksgiving here on Thanksgiving. So, yeah. Oh, 1 o'clock. Oh, great. I've been telling people 2 o'clock. Glad I finally found that one out. So I don't pay it. I know everybody's asked me, what time, Phil? And I go, I don't know. So they'll show up at 2. So this should be perfect. But yeah, for anybody that doesn't have a family to go to, or someone that has a family to go to and wants to come here anyway. So, or do both. We have people doing both. So yeah, the more the merrier. Peachy keen, fun stuff. We have one of our favorite people here today, and I said year before last that when he did Christmas Mass, that this might be your last chance to actually have to see something like that. So I think we had a decent crowd, as I recall, and then lo and behold, he didn't do it last year, and lo and behold, he's going to do it this year. So it'll be Christmas Eve, 10 o'clock, okay? For those that have that Catholic background or Lutheran or anything else that's kind of similar to that, you'll get a charge out of it. You really will, because it's kind of the best of both worlds. Our favorite Christopher doing it and talking, and I think we have a program so you kind of know what's going on a little bit, so you can, it's different. The feeling is different, because there is a reason for the Mass, and most people don't realize what that is, but I'm sure Christopher would be happy to talk about that. So if you haven't experienced it, it's a good place to do it, because you don't have quite the length or the... I'm going to just shut up. Christopher, you want to get up here and talk?
Yeah. Thank you, Phil. It could be. You never know. I'll be happy to talk about what Mass is like when I do Mass. It's the short form, so it's a little less than an hour, and I offer the host, and everyone's welcome to partake of that if they so desire. It's very interesting. I was brought up Baptist Protestant, and I started working in church and doing things when I was, I think I was about 11, and I would go with my neighbors. My mother has 6 sisters, 4 brothers, and they were raised in a church, and I've talked about Daddy's church off and on. Had a church in New York City, in Harlem, on Lexington Avenue and 125th Street, and I used to take the train when I was older to go down to Daddy's church. But because my mother was raised in church and Daddy had a very strong arm, she only went on Easter and Christmas. So I went every Sunday, but I would go with the neighbors. So I was brought up in listening to the gospel and singing gospel and doing all kinds of those wonderful things. And then I got involved in the Rosicrucian order. Before I did that, I got involved a little bit in Buddhism. I was a Buddhist for 2.5 years. Then I got to the Rosicrucian order. When I was in the Rosicrucian order, we studied a lot of Egyptian mysticism, a lot of spirituality, a whole lot of stuff. And I came across what I thought was the highest magic ritual that you could do. And in those days, we used the word occult a lot, it was called the God-eating ceremony. And I researched and I researched and I researched and I researched. What is this ritual? What is it? This ritual, that white magic that's really beautiful. And I came to find out it was the Mass. It was the Mass. Aleister Crowley had been ordained a Catholic priest somewhere along the line. All of the leaders of the Golden Dawn at that time were Catholic priests. They had all been ordained Catholic priests so that they could do the Mass. And when I found that out, about the same time I found that out, I had also discovered the Liberal Catholic Church. I was in Seattle. Phil and Janice has been in the store that I've talked about. There's a little store on Capitol Hill. I think it's called the Quest Bookshop. Yes. And downstairs, there's a Liberal Catholic Church. They meet down there. And I was there one Sunday looking for a book by Butler, who was a Liberal Catholic priest, and he had written a book about ritual and magic. And the gal behind the counter said, well, I don't know about this guy, but I said, well, he's a Liberal Catholic priest. And she goes, oh, well, they meet downstairs and the priest is in. So I went downstairs and I met Father Teamer. And wonderful gentleman. And the next Sunday I was there serving as a server. Now I was brought up Baptist Protestant, and here I am now serving at a Catholic altar. And I have to tell you this, because this was really significant at the time. For me, it felt like putting on a comfortable pair of shoes that I've had for a long, long time. I knew everything that I was supposed to do, even though I was never exposed to it before. So it was a very comfortable thing for me to slip into. I hadn't done it before. I've had a lot of wonderful experiences through the Liberal Catholic Church, and I love to do Mass. And if you do come on Christmas Eve, when I'm doing Mass, and when any priest does Mass, we do not do it alone. There is an angel of presence that comes down and sits right here by the altar, and it's through the power of that angel that everything takes place. And if you really want to know what happens on the astral plane during the Mass, there's a wonderful book that's written by W.C. Ledbetter, and it's called The Science of the Sacraments. And he goes through each step of the Mass and what's happening on the astral plane when it's taking place. It's a beautiful read, and it's just awe-inspiring. So every time I come here, or every Sunday, any time there's worship, I know what's going on. There's these wonderful energy artifices that are being built up, and when it's done, it goes out into the community. So when you walk around on Sundays and you feel that wonderful feeling, that's what it's coming from. It's actually coming from all of the congregations and all the energy that's being built up. I woke up this morning in a fog. I looked out the window, literally, and it was foggy. It was very foggy. I could barely see things off in the distance. And I started thinking about that on my drive here, because I drove here through a fog. And there's been a lot that's gone on over the past month since I've been here last. We've had the horrific thing that's happened in Paris. We've got a lot of people very upset, rightly so. There's a lot of unrest, if you will, in the world. So I thought to myself, how do we take care of those kinds of things? How do we deal with those kinds of things? Some of you know, or might not know, I'm a board member of the Three Rivers Community Foundation, and we give out grants to nonprofits. Last year we gave grants to about 50 some odd nonprofits. We had over 63 nonprofits apply for grants from us this year. So all last week, every day last week, I was listening to grant recipients. They come in for 10 minutes and tell us why they need the money. And then tomorrow, Monday, the board gets together and we argue because we decide who's going to get the pot of money that we have. We'll probably be able to give away somewhere around $250,000 to $300,000. And it doesn't even scratch the surface. But as I was listening to all of these nonprofits during the week, I was hearing some of the things that are going on right here in the Tri-Cities. There's sex trafficking going on. There are immigrants here that are falling through the cracks because they can even go to the food bank, and if they're given a turkey, they don't know how to cook it. I heard so many things of things that are happening just right here in the Tri-Cities. And when you take and look at that, and then you look at the world stage and all the things that are going on there, I thought to myself, what can we do? How do we deal with it as individual people, even though we are one? And the best way that I know to deal with that is to be at peace within yourself and radiate that peace out towards others. So how do we do that? So bear with me, we're going to have some experiments this morning. I would ask you to close your eyes. Imagine a lake. And the surface is smooth. It's peaceful. Take that same peace that you see on the surface of this lake and go deeper under the water. Because even though the surface is peaceful, there is activity happening under the water. There's life, there's movement, there's current. Take that peace deeper into yourself. Bring that peace into your heart. If you allow yourself a few minutes every day and bring this type of stillness, this type of peace into your heart, regardless of all the fog that's out there, all the horrific things that are going on out there, you can find peace. And as you find peace, those that are around you find peace. You can open your eyes when you feel you need to or want to. Sometimes it's very, very difficult to just stop and be. We are in a society that's constantly going all the time, really quickly. Got to get here, got to get there, got to do this, got to make sure that's done. We're constantly moving. I mentioned to Crystal earlier about the lights. We've fallen a little bit out of rhythm, if you will, with the mother. It's very easy to turn the lights on at night and just keep going. Keep surfing and keep doing this and keep doing that. When before we had lights and the sun went down, we'd still have candle lights or lamps, but it was a lot quieter light. We tend to be more in rhythm, if you will, with the earth. And that made a big difference. We've fallen a little bit out of rhythm. So it's important to take just a little bit of time, a couple of minutes, and just be silent. Get in touch with your heart. Go deep. Go deep. We can seem like we're really calm on the surface, but if you really look at a body of water, even though it could be as smooth as glass on the surface, there's a lot of activity going on below. So you have to go deep. It's not a surface thing. You have to really go deep. And it doesn't have to be for a half hour, 20 minutes, or whatever. Just a few minutes is all you need. Just a few minutes to re-energize yourself. And you can deal so much easier with the fog that's out there. Because it is there. And eventually, and I truly believe this, the fog will lift. And when I say the fog will lift, I mean we will finally be a single people on this planet. We'll finally be a single people on this planet. We're getting there. I think we've hit the tipping point and just don't realize it. I really do believe that. There are much more of us that are peaceful, loving, and embracing mankind as we are that aren't. We truly outnumber those. Though I will caution you and say that positive and negative are on the same coin, just on the different side. I always like to say there's three things. There's the positive side of the coin, the negative side of the coin, and the neutral edge. Holds it together. Yeah, holds it all together. So I guess what I wanted to say this morning really is take time to take care of you. If you don't do that, regardless of how much you study, how much things you do, all of the running around that you do, you're letting these precious, wonderful, beautiful, miraculous moments slip by. When you take the time to be still, you are in the moment. You're aware of being in the moment. That's when we're really alive. In my mind, that's when I'm really alive. It's when I'm in that moment. And you can do it almost anywhere, at any time. Don't have to have some set schedule. But when it comes, step into that. Step into that. Feel that peace and feel it in your heart. Not just up here. I say to people sometimes the hardest race you'll ever run is maybe about 12 inches long. And that's connecting your mind to your heart. It's not a very far distance. But for some people, it's insurmountable to go that distance. We work out here so much. But when we really change, when something's really affected us, it's from here. It's not from here. It's from here. When we feel that, we could have danced. When you feel that in your heart, you know you've touched it. You know you've touched it. When Janet comes up here and leads a meditation process, and you feel it in here, you've actually walked with her. You've gotten there. If you're doing it from here, you gotta, it's like climbing a mountain. You gotta really fight it to get there. But if you do it from your heart, no problem. No problem at all. Your heart will never, ever, ever lead you astray. And you know that. You know when you're doing something and your heart says, mm-mm-mm. You know it. And you do it anyway. Because your mind says, it's okay. We're very good at justifying what we do. I can come up with all kinds of reasons why I should when I shouldn't. Okay? My heart, though, if I allow my heart the space to get into that conversation, then the shouldn'ts don't happen. They just don't happen. My heart will not allow it. Your heart will not allow you to do that. It's amazing how it works. We really have that kind of control. So let me leave you with this. It was something that was written by Harold Melchant. I think I pronounced his last name okay. Probably butchered it, but that's all right. I thought it was really nice what he wrote. He said this: live your life each day as you would climb a mountain. An occasional glance towards the summit keeps the goal in mind. But many beautiful scenes are to be observed from each new vantage point. How true is that? You know? How many of you ski? All right. Well, I ski, used to anyway. And it was really interesting. I would always stop. I'd ski down a little ways, go over a few levels, stop, and then I would just look. And I'd ski a little further and stop and just look. And I just got to the point where instead of being, because I used to do jumps and all this crazy stuff, I got to the point where I just like to go down the trails and just stop as I was going and just look out, because it was beautiful. Okay, so he goes on to say, climb slowly, steadily, enjoying each passing moment. That's insightful. And the view from the summit will serve as a fitting climax for the journey. So the mountain here, in my mind, is our life. And as we go through our life, we're climbing that mountain. And if we do not take the time to enjoy the view of our passage through this life as we climb, we're missing those beautiful, precious, wonderful moments. We're not living in those moments. When we're worried about so much about the future, or worried so much about the past, we're not living in those beautiful moments. And only you can control that. Nobody else can control that for you. You control that. So be at peace. Listen to your heart. Enjoy the moments of your life. Everything, even with everything that's happened, Paris, ISIS, everything that's going on, has purpose. I can't tell you what those purposes are. But I know enough to know it has purpose. There's a reason for it, and it will play out. My purpose, as far as I can see, is to be at peace with life and to spread that peace as best as I can. So you can all do the same. So, like he says here, climb slowly, steadily, enjoying each passing moment, and the view from the summit will serve as a fitting climax for the journey. So in our last day, which is the climax of our life, that view will be a fitting climax to the journey of your life. It truly will be. It's funny, you've all been praying for me, and I have cancer, and it's doing its thing, and I'm so very comfortable with going through transition. I know it's like going to be a beautiful thing. I feel like my body is, how kids have those little cars that are connected to a wire and they got a little control thing here. That's what I think my body's at. My oversoul, my mind is like, just, yeah, it's all right. I can't wait. They won't let me go yet, but that's okay. I'm enjoying the moments that I'm here. But the climax is coming, and I'm truly looking forward to that. And I'm going to embrace it fully for what it truly is. There's no fear there. There's just love. There's just love. So be at peace. Enjoy your journey. Enjoy your life. Listen to your heart. It will never, ever lie to you. It will never lie to you. Namaste.
Communion. It is so wonderful to commune with one another. There are several who have been going through some health issues lately, and we're so grateful you're here.
Hi, Dan.
And some of you have been going through some emotional things, and we're so grateful you're here, because you can't regroup without the group. And so that's what we're all about, is finding this peace, being at peace in a safe place. So with that, join me in prayer, please. Loving Spirit of Light, we are grateful for this journey that we're on. We ask that you help us to slow down and take notice. We are grateful for the peace that you bring to us. And as we partake of this, help it to amplify the peace that you gift us with. These things we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen. Yeah. As that continues around, would you join us in prayer again, please? Loving Spirit of Light, as we drink this in, help us to drink in life, all of it, and help us to acknowledge that you walk with us. These things we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
You're all safe. Sandra volunteered.
Microphone.
Isn't it wonderful to be here? I mean, the energy and how I feel about myself when I'm in your presence. It resonates that, oh my gosh, I feel that way about me too. Anybody else have that feeling? I want to read something to you before we pass out. Before we do the offering, okay? That I thought was very interesting. An elderly Chinese woman had 2 large pots, each hung on the ends of a pole, which she carried across her neck. One of the pots had a crack in it, while the other pot was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water. At the end of the long walks from the stream to the house, the cracked pot arrived only half full. For a full 2 years, this went on daily, with the woman bringing home only 1.5 pots of water. Of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments. But the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection. and miserable that it could only do half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be bitter failure, it spoke to the woman one day by the stream. "I'm ashamed of myself because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way back to your house." The old woman smiled. "Did you notice that there are flowers on your side of the path, but not on the other pot's side? That's because I have always known about your flaw. So I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day while we walk back, you water them. For 2 years I have been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate the table. Without you being just the way you are, there would not be this beauty to grace this house. Each of us has our own unique flaw, but it's the cracks and flaws we each have that make our lives together so very interesting and rewarding. You've just got to take each person for what they are. Look for the good in them. So, to all of you, my cracked pot friends, have a great day and remember to smell the flowers on your side of the path. The offering keeps us here in this place. Do whatever you're so guided to do to share your cracked pot life with us. Thank you.
Amen to that. Thank you, Duke. While those baskets are going around, a couple things I want to bring to your attention. Next Sunday is like a bonus Sunday because it's Fifth Sunday. Oh boy, extra Sunday. So we're going to do, the next couple of Sundays are going to be really special. This next Sunday is a festival of lights. We're going to do a festival of lights. Many cultures have a festival of lights. Ours is going to be way cool, different. My goal is to channel a message for each person that comes. So that's what I'm thinking of. We may want to plan a little bit. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't think it's going to be a long message each, but it'll be something special. Anyway, so that's that. That's next Sunday. The following Sunday, Phil is going to do one of his healing Sundays. If you've never had a healing from Phil, oh my gosh, it's like phenomenal. And so there's some things he's going to help lock in what it is that you're manifesting. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, and then he'll do a healing process for that, or a healing for that. Is there anything else I needed to say about that? I think that's it for now. If you want reminders of things that are going on in the church, I need your email. So your name and email, if you'd write that on a piece of paper and get it to me, that would be great. Because I send those out once a week, so you get a heads up. I usually do. Sometimes yes. While I'm standing here and I